And we've watched him again this year. He sets a record with 90 errorless games. He hits 30 home runs. He ties for the league lead in runs scored. Yes, it just might be time to anoint him one of the greatest of second basemen. Meanwhile, Greg Maddux was expansively enjoying the second half of the season. It was a welcome improvement on a rough second half in 1988.
Last year, this guy was almost a perfect pitcher the first half of the season. I don't know what his record was, maybe 15-2 or something. The second half, he didn't win as many games, and everybody said, well, he faltered in the second half. We're talking about a guy now, 23 years old, that's won 35 games in 2 years. That's not too shabby.
This year, he got off to a 1-5 start, but ended up winning 19 games and has become one of the best pitchers in the league.
That's it, the ground ball. Sandberg, Cubs win. Cubs win. Greg Maddux, his 15th victory of the year. He becomes the leading Cub pitcher.
Almost 2.5 million people passed through the Wrigley Field turnstiles in 1989, setting a record. Millions more watched on TV and listened on the radio. There's something about the Cubs and their fans that fascinates the rest of the country. The long-suffering routine may be part of it, but the sheer fun and beauty of a ball game at Wrigley Field is at the heart of it.
We come to Wrigley Field, teams come and go, but Wrigley Field is constant. Let me tell you the reason why we love the Cubs. See, we can come to Wrigley Field and sit in a seat that our great-grandfather sat in, that our grandfather sat in, that our father sat in, that we're sitting in, and our children's children will sit in. And we can watch the game of baseball, and just for those next 3 hours, nothing changes. Time stands still at Wrigley Field.
While the business of baseball is conducted on the field, in and around Wrigley Field, various and assorted monkey business can be observed.
All right, you put it in reverse. Here we go. Oops.
The painter is making sure he doesn't miss a single pitch.
I'd like to be paying him by the hour, Harry, to watch Cub baseball.
Not everybody's watching a ball game.
He's sent for anything that may happen.
He can get into any door in Chicago. Look at those keys. He's still trying to get in there. There'll be some extensive damage to the two cars in front and back of him, but he's going to get in that spot. Now, the question is, will he ever get out of it?
Even the dogs are watching the Cubbies.
That's because it's the dog days, Harry.
Well, that's a funny sight.
Got to keep them busy at the old ballpark. This is great. Bang, bang, bang.
The war is over, by the way. He's been flying around for a long time.
Be careful, Bruce. He's trying to chase it with his cap. There he goes.
There is the Spider-Man of Sheffield Avenue right there. And the finale. He did it.
Tickets are tough to come by, and sometimes it's just good to be in the vicinity of the ballpark when you're watching games, waiting for fly balls to go over the fence.
On September 21st, Andre Dawson sent one over the fence. Airman.
There's a shot deep to left. Way back. Kiss it. Goodbye. It's a fair ball and a home run for Andre Dawson. It's across the street, and the scramble is on. A 3-run blast for Andre Dawson.
And it looked like the mailman got it. Andre Dawson delivering the mail, and the mailman getting the baseball.
I was riding down Waveland Avenue. I dropped the package off, and as I approached the corner where the ball was hit, I saw my friend. And he asked me, he said, "What is you doing?" I said, "I come to catch a home run." And as soon as I said it, boom, here come the ball over the fence. I saw the man scramble for it. I saw the ball kick loose, so I figured I had a chance to go get it. So I went for it. I kind of used the left forearm to keep them back, and I gave it a slight kick, and it bounced back to me.
Not slow pitch, nor fleet one, nor room in right shall stay him from his appointed round tripper. What could be more beautiful than an autumn day at the ballpark when your team is in first place and all is right with the world? But the Pirates didn't think so, especially when Mark Grace drove in Marvell Wynn in the first inning. Mike Bielecki won his 17th game. Mitch Williams saved his 35th, and the magic number was reduced to 5. Saturday's game was a little chillier and a little closer. The score was tied 2-2 with Kurt Wilkerson on second in the bottom of the ninth. Mitch Webster was at the plate with a game on the line.
Well, he's up there with a runner at second, 1 out in the ninth, and a 2-2 tie. And he gets a base hit to right. Reed is charging. Here comes Wilkerson. The throw to the plate. He scores. The Cubs win it 3-2.
There was a salute to Harry Carey before the last regular season home game. Then the fans waved their team on to one more victory.
Lines, well, Cubs win, and I don't know who's happiest. The fans or the players.
In a magical season, Chicago had grown to love these boys of Zimmer, and this was returned in kind as the Cubs thanked their fans. Everyone seemed certain there would be more home games soon. But first, there was a little matter called clinching to take care of. The Cubs had taken their 4-game lead across the border to Montreal and hoped to nail the title down there before a final weekend series in St. Louis against the second-place Cardinals. On September 26th, with Greg Maddux on the mound going for his 19th win, the task of clinching seemed to be in capable hands. The Cubs got off on the right foot with a run in the second. Then in the sixth, Dwight Smith drilled a single into left. That drove in Ryne Sandberg for a 2-0 lead. When the scoreboard showed that the Cardinals had lost in Pittsburgh, the Cubs knew a victory here would wrap up the divisional title. But the Expos came back to tie the score at 2 in the bottom of the sixth. Meanwhile, in Chicago, Cub faithful gathered to offer some seventh-inning stretch encouragements.
On 1, on 2, on 3, take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Let me out!
Well, it was long distance, so it wasn't until the 8th inning that the rally vibes arrived.
There he goes. There's a drive in the right field. He's on his way to third. There, it's fumbled now. Here he comes. He's going to try to score. The drive. Save! Save! The Cubs have taken the lead.
Then, with perfect symmetry, the pennant race ended the same way it began, with Mitch Williams coming in relief to save a Cub victory.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. Hey, Cubs win the division! Cubs win the division! Cubs win the division!
Then the long-awaited celebrations began all over Chicago and in one room in Montreal.
I can't believe this. This is unbelievable. We did it.
84, they said we were going to win. If we didn't win, we were going to choke. They said this team couldn't win, but we did.
We just wanted to win this thing, so it didn't seem like we were back into anything. So we're the National League East champs, and oh, baby.
You know, when the Cardinals finally got beat, we were in the 7th inning with a 2-0 lead. And I said, well, at least that's the best I've ever done in baseball, was a tie in Boston. And then when we finally won the game,